You know what was left?
Of course, the Royal Rumble.
So I just once again on the scoreboard, we had a match for one of the world titles that went for 7 moves, then one of the women's world titles, then Bugs Bunny, then a 1 hour long 30-woman battle royal, then more Bugs Bunny, then a DJ won a championship belt, Bradshaw spoke the only truth of the whole show. Then we had an indie death-style garbage match with forklifts and golf carts. And now we're ready for, and a botched finish. And now we're ready for the men's rumble. If this had been the best Royal Rumble of all time, how could you at this point, 3 hours into this fucking fiasco, save this thing? They had too much. The burden was too much. Edge number 1 and Orton number 2. I'm like, well, okay, wow. Edge is back. He looks great. At least he's a star. Orton's a star. They start the fight on the ramp. But then they go to the ring and they go through the ring to the floor. I want somebody to go back that has a lot of free time. And out of this 4-hour show, tell me how long people were actually in the ring. So now they start doing the same thing. 2 guys, I love Edge's work. I fucking love Randy Orton's work. And they're doing the bullshit indie-style fight around the ringside and the table and bouncing each other's head off the screens and the barricade. And they do that to start this thing out. So it's nice they went the other way and didn't do shit that everybody else had been doing. Did you notice that? Or is at this point, is it just every match that's what they do? Everybody.
It's every match what they do. Everybody.
Sami Zayn came in number 3, and the heels got some heat on Edge. Then Mustafa Ali came in number 4, and he turned heel and got on Edge. And they all 3 got heat on Edge. And then Jeff Hardy comes in number 5 and has a so-so flurry, and he gets stopped because Randy Orton then RKO's everybody. But then Edge is back on Orton, and they go back to the fucking floor. And Edge DDTs Orton on the table, but it doesn't break. So here's where not only the empty arena has ruined these people probably for all time, but God, do we miss Pat Patterson. Because this becomes a recurring theme. Pat used to be able to figure out that everybody but the fucking lowest munchkin would get some type of impact and come in at the right time. Either a babyface would come when it would get a pop because the heels had taken over, or a star would come out and make an impact, or some new talent would whatever this was just guys coming in, and if anybody bothered to turn and run toward them, they'd hit them with something, but most people were just ignoring everybody that came in. And the other point is that after Randy Orton RKO'd everybody and Edge came back and got on him, the business that they did, going out back to the floor, going to the table that didn't break, whatever, everybody else in the ring sold Randy Orton's RKOs for 2 full minutes. People been in car accidents, have gotten up and walked away quicker. And that's what, if you notice, a lot of times there's guys doing fill stuff in the match, in the battle royal, if you see it out of the corner of your eye when there's something going on. But in a lot of cases, it just seems like everybody just lays down, rolls over, rolls out, or just disappears somewhere and are just sitting waiting for their next spot where they're needed, which they wouldn't be able to do if there were people in the building, and which they ought to be acting like. Because if you have a wrestling match and you stop and you edit and you cut, or you roll out and catch your breath because you're not in the scene, then you're not having a wrestling match, you're making a fucking movie. And this wasn't a very good movie. And in number 6, here comes Dolph Ziggler. And Edge is meanwhile murdering Randy Orton outside with chair shots just over and over. And then Dolph Ziggler, when he got in, he did dump Jeff Hardy, who had sold his RKO for 3 minutes. And then here comes Shinsuke Nakamura. Does he look like a Japanese Sabu to you?
No.
Why not? He looks the long hair. He always has a pained expression on his face, like he's got multiple injuries that are hurting. It looks like he may hurt something at any point. I'm not seeing what the fuck everybody's been in love with old Shinsuke for so long.
Well, let me just say, I'm a major fan of him in New Japan, and I liked him in NXT. It's been a different Nakamura since he got to the main roster. The same way a guy would be fantastic in Mid-South and then go to the WWF, and next thing you know, it's like, man, I hate Hercules Hernandez.
All right, well, fair point there. Although he never got to the hate point.
Oh, no, he was really...
Was he really bad?
He got to the point where him and Dino Bravo, go watch some of those matches.
Ooh, all right.
You'll hate yourself.
Nevertheless. Boy, you know what Hercules Hernandez in 1984 could have been, without doubt, in that Paul Orndorff 1986 Hogan spot, and been just as fearsome and just as badass. But he did gain weight and go downhill fairly quickly. Anyway, Randy Orton's still out on the floor selling his knee. And here comes Carlito at number 8. He looks better than he ever did. He's twice the size he was when he was actually wrestling.
He's on the Hercules Hernandez diet, it seems.
Yeah, but he looked good. As a matter of fact, when he got in, shit kind of picked up a little bit just in terms of the athleticness going on and people taking bumps in the ring. And meanwhile, the referees are helping Randy Orton to the back at a snail's pace with camera shots. So, and the announcers mentioned he had not been eliminated. And then later on, we're going to see him in the trainer's room with his knee being worked on. And they'll mention he hadn't been eliminated. And then after 30 minutes, you don't ever see him. And then you know he's coming back. But anyway, Xavier Woods got in and nothing happened. Big E got in. Now, if there were fans, I wrote right now, popcorn would be sold out in the arena if there were fans at this juncture in this match. There were 9 guys in the ring, and the only guy that anybody, average person on the street, might know is Edge. And that's iffy, but at least he was a star when people were actually watching. The fake fans really loved Sami Zayn getting eliminated. They cheered like crazy. And here's what I'm talking about. John Morrison comes in. He threw one kick and went to the corner, and everybody ignored him. Nobody fed him. He did nothing. Ricochet's next in. He comes in, and then he had 30 seconds of gymnastics set up with everybody, which he perpetrated. And then they flattened him. Elias was number 13. For once, I was wanting to see him sing instead of wrestle. And then finally, number 14, Damian Priest. This is where I wrote in big block letters, we need Pat Patterson. He bumped Elias, he bumped Ricochet, he bumped Morrison, and he dumped Elias. And then he blended in. And there it kind of was. Frogface was next, but he took the Money in the Bank briefcase over and smashed up the DJ desk where Bugs had been doing his alleged music. Then Miz got in the ring and did Dennis Condrey's face buster very poorly and from the wrong side. Then Miz and Morrison did team up on everybody and did some double teams. That was refreshing at this point. But then here comes Bugs. He's mad about his DJ booth and distracts Frogface and Morrison, and Priest dumped them both, which is great. Priest gets credit for dumping a recognized tag team. And then Bugs Bunny climbed to the top rope and did a crossbody on both of them. And this is another time where there's no match going on when they're doing these tricks, as I believe Sports Quifa had termed them tricks. Is that what they said was tricks, right? Sports Quifa?
I believe it was Sports Skifa. Or no, Sports Skeeta. That was what it was.
Sports Skeeta. Whatever. And then here come Riddle. Number 16, well, he hadn't even gotten the ring, and they were doing the replays in the fucking box of Bugs Bunny doing the crossbody and killed Riddle's whole fucking initial flurry. It was in the small box, and everybody talked over it. At number 17, Daniel Bryan. Okay, he hits the ring and hits 2 corner drop kicks that the guys obviously were there for. And then just trades kicks with Ricochet. Here was Daniel Bryan, one of the biggest stars they had just a few years ago, and he's in there trading kicks with another fucking interchangeable gymnastic midget. So thanks for coming, Daniel. Then the only flashback to when somebody who knew what the fuck they were doing was actually putting these things together. Kane is number 18. The retired... Here's in the following the same precedent of Goldberg and now Edge, the retired 30-year wrestling veteran and current mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, gets in and makes a bigger impact than anybody in the match. And by the way, when Kane got in, there were 9 guys involved in this, and only he and Big E were over 230 pounds. Kane hits a choke slam, then a double choke slam, eliminates Dolph Ziggler, eliminates Ricochet, and then everybody fucking sells while he hugs Daniel Bryan and then choke slams him. And then it was Damian Priest's fucking turn because now he's going to get made by this big monster that just came in. I think our friend Damian dropped the ball on this one. Do you not? Did you think?
What do you mean?
Kane went to choke slam him. He was going to pop behind. He didn't land on his feet. He landed. He fell over on his ass. He had his moment in the sun to have an interchange with probably the biggest of all time, biggest WWE star in this match, and eliminate Kane. And he didn't kill it. It didn't come off. I
think you're overrating how big a star Kane is, because he's been around way too much.
No, in this field.
Edge is bigger than Kane.
Well...
You could probably argue that Randy Orton may be bigger than Kane. Daniel Bryan's a bigger star than Kane.
Okay, whoa! Of all time, Daniel Bryan would be interested to know that he missed a number of seven-figure years if he's a bigger star than Kane.
Kane has not been interesting in many, many years. He's just been a guy that they wheel out there.
Listen to me. Of all time. I'm not saying that fucking Jenna Jameson looks the same as she did 25 years ago.
I understand, but I don't see Kane as that level. I see him just a notch below that.
I'm going by payoffs. Kane has made more money than anybody in this match in the WWE, with the possible exception. I'm trying to find an exception.
If you're going by how do you go by payoffs? He was there for 20-something years.
That's what I'm saying. That's a bigger
longevity.
Star. That's a more recognized human being.
I'll admit I groaned when Kane came out. I said, oh no, not this again.
Well, and I did too, because here's the thing. I knew what was going to happen. He made a bigger impact than anybody else in the match because it was set up that way, because he's a fucking monster. But they should have set up other guys' fucking impacts too, and he knows how to take advantage of it. It's not like he's going to say, oh no, let me just roll in, throw a couple of kicks to the guy in the corner and then blend in. I'm saying that more people over the last 25 years have seen Kane, and he has been featured in more major matches and more championship matches and more pay-per-view main events and more highly rated television programs than anybody else in this match, with the possible exception of Edge or Randy, actually of Randy Orton, not even Edge, because business, by the time Edge got to the top, business had fallen off.
I'll say this, though, about Damian Priest. I like Priest's performance in the Royal Rumble. But we've talked... Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say, I'm not knocking his whole thing. I'm saying he missed his moment here because he didn't look dominant over Kane, and I think that's how they had booked it if he had taken it. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is we've talked for so long about him in NXT, how he looks like a star. He's bigger than everyone there. What's it going to be like when he gets on the main roster? You know what? He looked like a star in there.
Yeah. He still looks the same.
No, but I mean, amongst their wrestlers, he looked gigantic. Yes. He looked great. I hope Vince doesn't screw him up. I mean, he will. But, man, that guy has so much potential.
But anyway, I would have liked to have seen a little bit longer, a little bit more definitive. But anyway, oh, Jesus. Next, number 19, the Possum King. And I fast forwarded on principle, just 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. And then I got to Otis. And I said, well, God damn it. But they set Otis up for all kinds of shit before he got dumped. Then number 21, Dominic Mysterio came in and the Possum King planted him. And then as he staggered up, turned around and Dominic dumped the Possum King. And then here came Bobby Lashley, who I love. He's a badass. And he dumped Dominic. Boy, did he dump Dominic. And Damian Priest. And at least if they're going to dump Priest, it was Lashley. But then he and Big E had a long, sloppy exchange. Why is everybody presenting or acting like Big E is a huge star? Because have you seen it yet? Why he would be a huge star? And if he is a big star, why didn't he have a bigger name than just... And where's Little E?
He was in the New Day, and the New Day amongst those fans were really over. Amongst fans like me, the New Day were awful. They were talented guys in the New Day, but as a unit doing their childish comedy, it's really stupid. Big E's been doing that for a while, so because of that, he's over. I will say this, though. This is the best Bobby Lashley physically has ever looked. Not just in terms of his muscles and everything, but the trunks he's wearing. He never looked so tall to me before.
The way he's moving. I think he's trimmed up a bit and he looks a little taller. But okay, here's something for you. Look up how old Bobby Lashley is and then tell me when you know, and we're going to be surprised. But anyway, he had a long sloppy exchange with Big E. Yeah, what is it?
44 years old.
Yes.
Blaster Lashley.
We had him because that's the thing, when he came to OVW, that was 2004. And we said, how old are you? He said, I'm 30. Holy shit. He's a physical freak. Anyway, but he had a long sloppy exchange with Big E, and he shouldn't have been even with E. What is Big E's name? Is it Ed? Evan?
Well, when he first came in, it was Big E Langston. And of course, Vince doesn't just hate first names, he hates last names too. So he got rid of Langston, and then he just became Big E. I don't know if we've ever been told what the E stands for.
Number 23, Shane Hurricane Helms, the wrestler with the best Twitter account on the internet. Okay, I'll go for this. He got in and did double eye pokes and tried a double choke slam on the two biggest guys, and they dumped him. So at least Shane got a check. But I would have actually at that point, I said, please, Shane, work a minute. Just a minute. Get my mind off this shit. Anyway, Christian. I was glad to see Christian back. He went through quicker, sharper spots more flawlessly than anybody else in the match so far. Did you not think? He hadn't lost a fucking step.
No, he looked great.
And then he and Edge teamed up on Riddle. I'm like, yes, because that Riddle just bothers me the more I see him. Stacy walks in again, and she's, who's wearing the fucking baseball umpire shorts and barefoot? And I said, that's Riddle. He's a stoner UFC fighter. Yeah. Anyway, number 25 was supposed to be AJ Styles, but on his way to the ring, he fell off the edge of the earth. Took him a while to get in the ring. Apparently that line fell the same way, in the same place. I thought that'd get a little giggle for you. Anyway, Rey Mysterio at number 26. And he did some good shit. And, Mysterio's so good. But here's the thing. Right at this point, they started doing the shit with AJ's giant, what do they call him? His own personal colossus. Vince loves that word. Vince loves certain words. And like he wanted Vader to be the mastodon. And I guarantee you, if it wasn't his idea, as soon as somebody said, why don't we call him his own personal colossus, he was sold. And now the announcers have to say it 75 times a night. But anyway, Amos, AJ's personal colossus, reaches up in front of the referees and pulls Big E over the top rope and eliminates him to the floor, and it counted. Because no DQ. Lazy, shitty booking. And then here comes Sheamus, looking even more pale and fucking weird. And then Amos eliminates Rey Mysterio in front of the referees, pulls him out of the ring, and it counts. And now we're just fucking making shit up as we go along. Here comes Cesaro, number 28, does the big swing on Sheamus, and then does the even bigger swing on Daniel Bryan, 100,000 revolutions. I love Claudio, but at this point, everybody's just waiting for this thing to be over with, me included. Here comes number 29, the father of the year, Seth Rollins. Apparently, he's back to work.
Man, this was the perfect time they rid him of that Messiah gimmick.
It should have been.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And finally, Braun Strowman, number 30. I guess they figured if he was in longer than a couple minutes, he'd blow up. And he did all the big spots and blah, 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 whatever. Finally, he dumped AJ. It was left Edge and Christian, Strowman and Rollins. And Rollins, of course, tries to team up with Strowman, and Strowman choke slams him and makes a big comeback. But as Edge and Christian are trying to team up and dump Strowman, Rollins comes up and dumps Christian and Strowman, and then Edge dumps him. And of course, we've all known that Randy Orton was coming back. They may have wanted to act like that we didn't know, and they may wanted to act like they forgot. But son of a gun, wouldn't you know who won the pony? As soon as this happens, Orton comes from the opposite side of the building from the entranceway. His bad knee is healed. He got away with this. Why didn't somebody just do this before? Brian, in 30 years, why didn't they just say, fuck it, I'm going to fake an injury, let them take me out, I'll sit out for 45 minutes or so, and then I'll come back in, RKO out of nowhere. So if it was okay to do this all along, anyway, as soon as fucking Edge turns around, there's Randy Orton, RKO, boom, and as Edge staggers up, Orton goes to dump him, and Edge does the Swizz itch and chucks Orton over. So you knew Orton was coming back, but they were counting on the swerve of him not winning after all that time. And it worked because the fake crowd went banana.
The fake crowd was counting for every 10-second countdown for every Royal Rumble entrant. Yeah.
Well, you know, these artificial intelligence things now, they do have the human power of cognizance, so they can count.
Man, sometimes on those monitors, I don't know what people are doing. Like, they have their hands up and they're just shaking. I'm like, what kind of cheer is that? What are they doing?
Well, but we've already established that they reuse some of these sometimes, and or they'll drop somebody out for grabbing their dick or doing something. They'll plug somebody else back in, or they've got shit ready to roll. But the whole thing is, I think Edge winning, and I've always been a fan of Edge's and his work, and I'm glad he's in such shape now after that neck surgery and the whole problem. It was shits. It was just shitty that he had to fucking go out the way he did. And if anybody, he's a great guy. If anybody deserves the chance to get back and do what he wants to do and go out on his own terms, it's him. I'm not arguing with him winning it. It's just the way that they just make up so many things to get there that have never in any way been a thing before until now all of a sudden they're a thing. And also the lack of star power. They had what was Reigns and Owens was for one of their titles also, but it was last man standing, right? But it was for the title too, or was it?
Yeah, it was for the title. I believe it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Point at two world title matches on the same card, 2 Royal Rumble matches on the same card, and then a girls' world title match. And that's what we get. The talent has never been thinner. So Edge winning this is a better story that they can tell with any of their current talent, and people know who he is and remember him, and he was over and he can work. But who are the big stars on the show? Edge and fucking Goldberg and goddamn and the guys that are either retired, semi-retired, or about to be in retirement age. Do one thing. Go back and look up the 1998 Royal Rumble. Just tell me who was in the fucking match. I'll even wait and vamp.
I'm pulling it up right now.
While you're pulling it up, I'll not leave dead air.
Okay, this one, the 1998 Royal Rumble. Here are the entrants in order of entrance: Cactus Jack, Chainsaw Charlie,
Terry Funk,
It says Tom Brandy here, but he may have been Salvatore Sincere, I believe.
Yeah.
The Rock, Mosh, Phineas I. Godwin, 8-Ball, Blackjack Bradshaw, Owen Hart.
There you go. I would just say there's a pattern here, and I'm not diminishing any of these guys, but you'd get 2 or 3 of the undercard guys, and then suddenly there'd be a Rock. Suddenly there'd be an Owen Hart. Suddenly, go ahead.
Steve Blackman, D'Lo Brown, Kurgan, Mark Merrow, Ken Shamrock, Thrasher, Mankind. Now, of course, Cactus Jack was in this 3 times, I believe.
Right, yeah.
The artist formerly known as Gold Dust. I forgot about that. Jeff Jarrett, Honky Tonk Man, Ahmed Johnson, Mark Henry, Skull, Kama Mustafa, Stone.
That was Godfather for the new fans.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, Henry O'Godwin, Savio Vega, Farouk, Dude Love, Chains, and Vader.
There you go. And by the way, what was the rest of the card, since you're on it? The rest of the card
I have it
for
here.
that night, besides that many superstars in the same match.
Now, in the earlier days of the Royal Rumble, typically if you were in a match before the Rumble itself, you were not in the Rumble, but here things are a little different. The results: Vader defeated the artist formerly known as Goldust with Luna Vachon. Max Mini, Mosaic, and Nova defeated Battalion, El Torito, and Tarantula with Sonny as the guest referee.
Okay, and that was the Mexican Minis. And yes, we were doing that then.
The Rock defeated Ken Shamrock via disqualification. The Legion of Doom defeated the New Age Outlaws by disqualification.
And weren't even in the Royal. The Road Warriors, they're not even in the Rumble.
Then was the Rumble match itself, won by Steve Austin, eliminating The Rock. And finally, Shawn Michaels, the WWF World Heavyweight Champion with Chyna and Triple H, defeated The Undertaker.
Wow. You've got fucking 15 Hall of Famers on that one card, and here they couldn't field a team without a bunch of fucking people coming in.
Hey, every now and then people suggest this, and I always think, man, that'd be really good, but it's long. I don't know if Jim would do it, but it's one of my favorite matches ever. And I don't even know if you ever saw it, because you really weren't a big fan of watching WWF television, except when you were there. And even then...
I wasn't then.
But would you consider a watch-along of the 1992 Royal Rumble? The one Ric Flair won?
I would, because I did see that on tape whenever I got a tape of the pay-per-view after it aired because of Flair winning it. I had to see that. I haven't seen it in 29 years after that, but I had to see it the first time. Who knows?
Well, that's something to consider, but another thing to consider is how bad these commentators are. And very often during this event, I had it on mute, but at other times, I decided to put my Raycon earbuds in and just listen to some good music, not by Bad Bunny.
Folks, if you want to get away from the agonizing strains of Bad Bunny cleaning his garage out, the best thing to listen to or listen to anything on is the Raycon wireless earbuds. We've talked about them, whether it's podcasts, news, audio books, doing a workout with your pumped up playlist. You put a pair of Raycons in your ears, it makes all the difference. They sound great. They keep the outside world at bay. There's no wires or stems. You don't look like a Martian. There's a range of stylish colors, but always a comfortable in-ear fit for a more discreet look, so you could even get by with things. People won't know what you're listening to. They're even water and sweat-resistant construction. They pair quickly with blue teeth. If you haven't been to the dentist lately and your teeth are blue, they will pair with that. And enough battery life for 6 hours of playtime. And the best part, they start at half the price of other premium audio brands and sound just as good. Folks, right now, Raycon is offering 15% off all of their products for the Cult of Cornette listeners, and here's what you got to do. Go to Buy Raycon. That's B-U-Y, Buy Raycon, RAYCON.com/JCE, and that's it. BuyRaycon.com/JCE. You're going to get 15% off your entire Raycon order, not just one pair. So grab a pair and a spare, and then you'll have a pair to spare. 15% off BuyRaycon.com/JCE. You do not have to listen to WWE commentary. You decide what you listen to.